All right, so today is clean out the schoolroom day. We've got a bunch of stuff here that needs to go in a dumpster. We rented a dumpster for the next 2 weeks, and we're going to try to get the garage cleaned out and this schoolroom cleaned out. So we ended up getting some new furniture for our living room because we just needed to replace the recliner. That chair has springs popping out of it, and it was hurting people, all that stuff. So we're going to work on getting this room cleaned out. We've got some major organizing that needs to be done. It just needs to be done. It hasn't been done in a very long time, and it's time. So this is the before of our schoolroom clean out. I thought I'd give you a quick update on the schoolroom situation. So yesterday, I actually tried to film us taking the stuff in and out and putting it in the dumpster, but it was so windy, it actually knocked my camera off of the deck. So I didn't get any footage of that. But I just wanted to show you kind of what the schoolroom looks like this morning and kind of explain how it got to this position and why I'm sharing that with you today. All right, so here's kind of a quick overview of how it looks today. We got the big, the box spring out of here. We got the blue chair, the smaller blue chair, and we got the recliner out of here. It had been sitting in here for a couple of months because where we live very rurally, and it was very difficult to get any kind of container. We would call and say, hey, we have these large items, where can we drop them off? Can you come and get them? It was a big headache. So they just sat and sat and sat. And we didn't want to take them outside to the garage because, well, it's a separate garage, and we've got mice outside because we live in the country. It's an old farmhouse. Anyway, we didn't want to deal with that. So we left it in here, and this room has become very, very cluttered, very, very chaotic. So my goal is to spend the next 15 minutes. I have a 15-minute time slot right now, so I'm going to spend the next 15 minutes and just try to get the floor picked up. One of my kids came in and got paper this morning, and because there's not actually a place to put it on the shelf, it just spilled all over the floor. So we need to work on this. And as I work on it, I'll explain a little bit of how it kind of came to be in this state. This is not usually how I keep this room, but yeah, we'll talk about that a little bit. Past year for me has been very, very challenging, I guess would be the right word to say. I have 8 children. My oldest is 13, and the baby at the time of this filming was getting ready to turn 1 year old. And we had that over the gardening season, a baby over the canning season, and I also had 2 new students in first grade that I was teaching to read and write and explaining all the instructions for school and that type of thing. And it didn't occur to me until just a few months ago why this year has just been so hard. I honestly was wondering, am I dealing with postpartum depression, or what is going on? Because this year has just been incredibly difficult. When I had my 5th child, the systems and different things that I had in place suddenly weren't working anymore. The patterns and the systems I had just weren't working. So I had to actually sit down and kind of reevaluate everything, how I was doing everything, and what needed to change to just facilitate things getting done. So that worked for a really long time. And then when I had my 8th baby this past year, everything changed again. And I'm not sure what the difference was between having baby number 5 and baby number 8, but everything suddenly wasn't working anymore. I had some of my children were older. I had younger children who were coming up and needed to be taught various things, and the systems I had in place are not working well. So I'm having to sit down and kind of reevaluate what we're doing, who needs to do what do I need to be in charge of, because what I was doing when I had 5 children and what I need to do now that I have 8 children, 6 of them in school, it's a lot. It's very, very overwhelming sometimes. So that's part of why this schoolroom got to such a state, especially over the last couple months. I usually have my twins tidy up in here, and that's typically their job, and they do a pretty decent job most of the time. They tidy up the bookshelves and they pick stuff up and put things where they need to go. But occasionally it does get to a point where I just need to go through things. And having the furniture in there really didn't help because there really wasn't a lot of room to move, and things just started to get piled. So I finally took some time to just sit down and go through everything. It just needed a mommy clean. And occasionally that needs to happen, and there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. So enjoy me cleaning up my very messy schoolroom, and maybe take a look around your home and appreciate how clean it is. Or perhaps you're like me and you've got some dirty parts in your house where they just need to be gone through and you just feel overwhelmed with it. And just take a couple minutes to sit back and appreciate what you do as a mom or a grandmother, and just take a couple minutes if you're able to and just start working on something. You know, everything has to start at the beginning. That's the way we get stuff done. So I was finally able to work in this room after getting a bunch of stuff out, and now it is much better. This is obviously a different day, and what I've done here, I took a little bit longer here. Normally I take a break during quiet time when I have a couple of nappers, and then my older children go and do a separate activity, quiet activity. But I worked through the quiet time period to be able to do this, because quite honestly, I would not be able to do this with an almost 1-year-old crawling all over the place, dumping things and getting into everything. But while he's down for his nap, I was able to really attack this, really get it done, really do an in-depth clean of it. And it has just been such a relief to have it done, and everything is where it should be. So I guess my next goal is to kind of go through if I can find it, the homeschool materials here really quickly. Just kind of get rid of what I know I'm not going to use. I'm not going to get rid of any of this. These are all of our chapter books and such. And then all of the little kids' books are down here. Some of those need to be gone through because over the past 13 years, some books have just been so well loved that they honestly just need to go. But I'm not going to do that today. Those look nice. One of my twins actually went through that and cleaned that up, and my other twin did this one. This shelf needs some help. I need to go through the homeschool supplies bin, and this shelf down here. A lot of those activity books have already been well used this year. I need to just kind of go through those really quickly, and we need to get stuff cleaned up off the floor. Are you having fun down there, buddy? Yes, he is. Okay. All right. So we're going to work on this section next.
Like, at least pull everything away so that we can step here.
These are readers. This is what we're keeping.
Mm-hmm.
right, so we're by no means finished, but that's definitely a lot better. We got some of the floor cleaned up. Yeah. I do have quite a big mess on the floor over here, but we can just start picking little pieces up and putting them where they're supposed to go, getting rid of what we need to. It took me forever to organize that. Get all the game pieces put back together, but it's done and I'm happy with that. So now that all the shelves have been cleaned up, we can figure out what we're keeping, what we're getting rid of, and hopefully make this room a little bit more usable. Okay, final update on the schoolroom. It is not finished, it is not deep cleaned, it is not deeply purged and organized, but it is satisfactory. We have made a lot of progress in here and I am happy with the results thus far. I don't remember, I'll have to go back and watch the footage from the original of this, but I don't remember. One of my main reasons for really digging in and getting to this room right now was, yes, it was overwhelming. Yes, we needed to get rid of a lot of stuff and organize it and make it functional for our family. But it is time to start seeds for the garden. This is the only place I have to start seeds because this is the only large window I have in my living room. I don't have a large window. So this is the only window I have that faces east, and this is the only window I have that provides sunlight for growing plants indoors. I live in northwestern Illinois. It is the beginning of April, and we have snow on the ground. There is, I don't know if you can see that, but there's no way to start seeds outside right now. I don't have a greenhouse. We'd have to get a permanent type structure because the wind out here is just brutal. When they call it the Windy City, I didn't realize that they would mean it's all the way in Illinois, all the way on the northwest corner. But that's okay. So we don't start seeds outside. We start them inside, and when it gets warm enough, we transplant them into the garden. So I had to get this space cleaned up so that I could put my tables up and start our seeds as well. So let me give you a final overview of the room, and yeah, we're gonna call it good. So we got the entire floor cleaned up. The bookshelves have been kind of organized. We get into this bookcase every single day, so that's always needing to be fixed. It's been several days since I've been in here, so we've been doing school and all that. On the floor, when I cleaned up the floor, I did find some more game pieces and stuff that need to be put away properly, but it's a small enough pile. I can have a child come in, take down the proper game, and put away those pieces where they're supposed to go. This filing cabinet does need to be gone through. There's a bunch of stuff up there that probably needs to go, but I don't have time to do that right now. I've been working in here for about 15 to 20 minute increments, and yeah, that's all the time I've had. That's a basket of stuff that I collected that needs to, again, be given to children, and they can put that away. I have a pile of school papers here that I need to file. That's not happening anytime soon. A lot of this is my husband's stuff that he needs to go through. A lot of it is tools that we use on a fairly regular basis. There are some school items up here, sticker books I can see, that still need to be put away. Again, I'm not going to touch that right now. But I did get the floor cleaned up. That's a pile of books for my high schooler next year that my mom graciously gave me. That's Goodwill. That is a bunch of book duplicates that my husband has to figure out what he wants to do with those. So yeah, this is the space that I have to work with, and I'm going to set up my my card table is sitting over there. So I usually put that table here, and then I'll open these curtains, and then we'll let the sunlight come in and start doing the seeds. But that is all cleaned up, and I am happy to have a clean space to work. The kids can access their stuff easily. And yeah, it's just a much more functional space.